In this video, I'm going to cover how I believe Tesla can hit $400 within the next 2 years. And we're also going to cover, because we have to be objective, what the worst case scenario is. Could we pull back down to $100 or even this $80 smart money level? As we have Tesla earnings coming up here in the next couple of days, I want to talk about the bigger time frame setup that's happening on Tesla and what my targets for 2026 and maybe even 2027 will be based off of two charts. The first is going to be the weekly chart, which is one of the strongest charts that even long-term investors should be using so that you can dictate buy-sell pressure on a larger time frame. Just because you believe that a stock is undervalued doesn't mean that the actual asset is going to move in the direction that you want unless other participants who are big enough to move the market also agree with your thesis. This is why I tell my students all the time that even though, if I believed in Tesla all of 2021 and 2022, I wouldn't have been buying it because on the monthly chart, we're showing nothing but selling pressure each and every single month. It's not until back in 2023, in February and January, that I would have potentially looked to go bullish again, only to see selling pressure. Now, if we zoom out to this monthly chart, there are a lot of important things that are currently happening, and I want you to take a look at the overall structure of the market. If we take a trend line from highs, you're going to see that price action has continued to make lower highs each and every single year. This is not a good sign because it's not showing that the market or that the overall structure is necessarily strong. It's bullish because we continue to make higher lows. If we weren't making higher lows, then we're in a downtrending market, and that's not something I want to trade. When we have higher lows, which is bullish, and lower highs, which is bearish, we tend to have a compression point where price squeezes between a tight range. Now, of course, the range that we're talking about right now is about a 50% move or a 50% range, but that's because we're using such a large time frame. Price has been compressing here for nearly a year and a half in the area that I have highlighted in blue. And you're going to notice that we really started putting Tesla on our radar back in June, simply because of this close on the monthly chart of a higher low. You'll even notice that if we look at my analytics and we isolate Tesla over the past year, we didn't start focusing at all on trading this until about June 7th. And from June 7th up until the past couple of weeks, which you have to understand that this is realized profits and loss. So this is only positions that have been closed out, winners or losers. My 2026 calls, I'm down about $320,000 on them, while I'm realized up $800,000. Once I close that out, this number will change. But the point I'm trying to make is that we were not focusing heavily on Tesla before then, simply because there was no buying and no signs of bullish activity on the bigger time frame. So many people worry about what's happening day to day, and I do focus on that, but only when a stock is setting up on a massive time frame, because I know that over the next year to a year and a half, I'm trading within a structure that is moving in the direction that I want. Now, so far, Tesla has been amazing moving up into this level. You can see that we had continued higher highs on the BX trender, which is exactly what we want to see. And this is why I was so bullish headed into the Robotaxi event, because the stage was set, right? We had a fundamental reason for the stock to go up. We had a change in the business model and the way that the company operates. We have a potential change in the way the world transports themselves and things across the world. And on top of that, we had a massive monthly chart ready to explode. And now, of course, long term, I don't think the event let down, but short term, it definitely did as far as a roadmap of how long it's going to take for all of that to actually impact revenue, which sent the stock spiraling. Now we head into earnings, and if earnings is very bad, we're going to see price sell another 20% off to potentially a low of $180. That is going to be worst case scenario. And what I mean by that is once we break $180, that is when I'll pull the ripcord on my calls. And at that point, I'll probably be down about 70%, meaning I'll lose about $500,000, which will suck. But ultimately on just Tesla alone, I will still be up about net 300 grand for the year. So if we see price sell off and break this level, there is a very high chance that it will continue to sell off down to about $84 over the next 1 to 2 years, which would be another 52% sell off. Now, before you click this button, get off and think I'm crazy, at the end of the day, I do not think that this is going to happen. I'm completely betting against this happening, but we have to be adults and we have to be objective here. You can't just be lost in the sauce and too attached to any type of position or any type of narrative or business. Things have to make sense, and if this level were to break, it would definitely cause a massive sell-off down to the $80 level. Now, the upside and what I'm expecting is a potential push over $275. Once we can clear this level of $275, there will be nothing stopping Tesla moving back up to at least $375, but what I would expect, $429. This would hit our equal high back here in November of 2021 or our all-time high. You can see that from those two pivot points, the upside here would be 63%. And the downside would be 52%, but I really wouldn't even be looking to short at that point. I would just move on from Tesla entirely until our criteria to get back in is met. The last thing I want to say is for all of you being like, hey, where are you getting $80 from? That's such a BS number. You're such a troll. You guys understand market structure works, right? Like we legit prove it every single day within our academy. And I call a lot of my trades out for free on X. You know that market structure works. Well, let's take the same principles that we use with market structure and zoom out on a monthly chart to Tesla. Take your Fibonacci from the bottom, which would be $15.53, and move it all the way up to the top of $383. If you were to push that THT fib level, you're going to notice that yes, we pulled back and institutional buying bought this up instantly. But those of you know that we can still come down and touch that smart money level. There's still an opportunity that we could pull back and hit this. And so that's why once this trend is broken, if the trend is broken, which I don't think will happen, I think it'd be very easy for it to pull back down before we actually bounce back up and take out a high. I believe within the next 3 years, easy, we're back up at 400. It's really just going to depend upon how the next couple of months play out. And of course, the entire time, I'll be with you guys trading, sharing my positions, and showing you the analysis that I believe is set up to succeed. If you want to learn more about all of the indicators that you see in this video, as well as the proprietary settings and the step-by-step trading system that I've built, you can take all of our courses completely free with the link in the description.